What's up, you guys? Garrett here. Today is Monday, May 4th, and I'm making another stimulus update video for you guys. I think you guys enjoyed my last couple videos, so I kind of just wanted to bring you guys the up-to-date information and what's currently being talked about. So to start off, I want to discuss some of the stimulus bills that have already been passed, what has already been paid out, so you guys can get a brief update on that. So far, we've had the $2.2 trillion CARES Act, which is the $1,200 stimulus check that most people were supposed to receive. Again, a lot of people still haven't received this check. Most of the comments in my other videos on this topic are saying they actually haven't received that $1,200 yet. A lot of people are saying they've had dates proposed to them on the IRS website saying, April 30th, they're gonna get their check. They're supposed to get it sent by mail, then they go back and check again to see where it's at, and now it's not even updating. They're not even showing a date. So it's kind of up in the air with what's going on with the actual $2.2 trillion CARES Act. As I know, there's still a lot of people out there still actually waiting to receive their first stimulus check. There's also the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, which was the $350 billion that was going towards relieving small businesses. But now, as of today, that fund has actually run out, so there's no more money to be funded to the small businesses under that specific act. And it's pretty crazy because a majority of that money actually went to large corporations and businesses. There's a lot of small businesses that didn't receive anything. And the reason this is happening is because when bankers are going to issue these loans to small businesses versus large businesses, they're making a commission. A lot of these bankers have pretty much been giving loans to larger companies because they're able to loan them larger amounts of money compared to a small business, so they're technically making more money per transaction. There's definitely an issue with this. I mean, giving larger corporations the money just because you can make more money as a banker is totally unethical. They're already getting in trouble for this. They're being looked at and investigated. So hopefully they face some sort of repercussions, because it's totally wrong that they're giving businesses that essentially are a lot larger and don't need the money as bad as these local small business owners that could really use the money in this time of need. Now, there's also been $484 billion that was allocated to replenish the small business relief and other expenses related to medical industry and testing. According to the reports, they're going to be allocating some more money to hopefully get out to the small business owners in need, as well as funding, medical people, the testing of fighting and combating the coronavirus, and things of that nature. So as of now, we know they've had the $1,200 stimulus. A lot of people still haven't gotten it yet. They've had Relief Act that has funded and helped small businesses, large businesses, but a majority of the people that got the money were the large businesses. So what's been passed already and put into effect is that $1,200 stimulus. The PPP has already been put into effect, the EIDL. So we already know these things. So what's going to come in the future? What are the proposed stimulus bills that are going to come for the second term wave? Now, there's a lot of different stimulus proposals being brought to the table. Again, they're going to have to go through Congress. They're going to have to get approved. They're going to have to get approved by the president. So there's a long process to approve these, but I want to go over each and every one that's been proposed. Again, I'm not proposing these. These are just the ones that politicians are currently proposing. So there's quite a few of them, so I want to briefly discuss each and every one. To start off, we have the Emergency Money for People's Act. I've already went over this in another video. This is pretty much known as the $2,000 per month stimulus payment. About 225 million Americans qualify for this one. The requirements are a lot less strict compared to the $1,200 first stimulus check we got. And again, you'll have to meet those minimum thresholds for income to actually qualify. So this bill is pretty much saying people should receive that $2,000 a month for up to 12 months. You guys, I'm already sure, have seen tons of videos on this act, but wanted to throw this one in here so you guys know what's actually being talked about and proposed in front of Congress. Next one is going to be Patriot Pay, where essentially essential workers are going to get an added $12 per hour onto their current base pay. This is going to include eligible jobs that the Congress and Department of Labor qualified as essential, which include hospitals, grocery stores, health manufacturing. They're going to receive temporary pay bumps through May, June, July, so on and so forth. It's technically just for essential workers, hospital workers, all these people that are currently working to combat this situation. They're proposing for them to get an extra $12 per hour on top of what they're already getting paid. Next, we have the Free Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act. This would institute nationwide cancellation of residential rents, mortgages, through the duration of the coronavirus. They're going to be offering full payment forgiveness or of rent for mortgage payments for your primary residence. So essentially, they're going to be giving forgiveness on your primary residence if you have a mortgage, and if you're renting, they're going to be giving forgiveness on that as well. And they're also stating that there will be no accumulation of debt for renters or mortgage borrowers. A lot of people were wondering if this is going to affect their credit if they're unable to pay rent or their mortgages, but what they're stating is there will be no negative impact on credit ratings or rental history for renters or mortgage borrowers. So that's pretty cool. If this actually were to get put into effect, if you weren't able to pay your mortgage, your rent, it's not going to affect your rental history, credit, which is one of the big factors here. If you're not paying rent or your mortgage, you don't want your credit to get ruined due to the fact that we're in this current situation. You might not have a job, you might not have income. How are you going to pay your rent or mortgage if you have no income? So if this were to get put in effect, that's awesome that they would include, this isn't going to have any negative impact on your credit or rental history. Now, what's going to happen to the landlords and the lenders if no one's paying their rent or mortgages? Because again, guys, people who are landlords, they oftentimes have mortgages on these properties. They have loans out with the bank. So if they're not collecting rents from renters, how are they going to pay their essential mortgage or loan payment, as well as what's going to happen to the lenders, the banks who are loaning out this money but not receiving any payments in return? The federal government, through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, would create a relief fund for landlords and a relief fund for lenders. I guess they're going to create separate funds, for one for landlords, one for lenders, by which they can be reimbursed for the lost rent, the lost payment income. So essentially what they're saying is they're going to be creating some sort of a relief fund under this act, and they're going to be reimbursing the lenders and the landlords, but it's kind of tricky how that's going to work. How long would that actually take for landlords and lenders to actually get that reimbursement? They didn't mention that, so we will never know, but it's still kind of, landlords are still going to have those payments coming in. Do they get relief of not paying for a certain amount? Can they add those payments onto the back end of the mortgage? They weren't really too specific on actually how all that would work, so that's one thing I'm curious of as well. And also, President Trump has discussed that he will not sign another stimulus into act unless it has tax cuts involved. Essentially, he will not accept a package that doesn't contain payroll tax cuts. So essentially how this would work is, let's say you get paid and you get 20% taxes taken out of your paycheck every 2 weeks. Essentially what he's suggesting is take away either part or all of the taxes you'd have to pay in, so you'd see an increase in income due to the fact that you're not actually paying those additional taxes. So for example, if your weekly paycheck was $1,000 a week, you get 200 taken out, you'd receive $800. Well, with a tax cut, if you didn't have to pay any taxes, you'd receive $1,000 versus the normal $800. So he assumes this will help stimulate the economy. You'll have more money to pay for whatever you need. But my question is, how is this going to work for people who are unemployed? This isn't going to benefit people who don't have income, who don't have jobs. So essentially this is only going to be helping, workers that actually are employed and receiving a paycheck. A tax cut would be great and nice, but if you're not employed, how is that going to help me at all? People who are unemployed still need to pay bills. They still need to buy food. They still need to feed their family, and giving them a tax cut isn't going to help. I mean, for sure, a future tax cut would be great, especially for people who are going to be getting back to work. But as the current situation stands, people need money now. They need to be able to buy food and pay their rent now. And a tax cut for people that don't have jobs just isn't going to be beneficial. Now, for my opinions on all these different proposals, I think they should first get the people that first $1,200 that haven't received it. I don't understand why there are people receiving the stimulus that are still employed, still making the same wages, still making the same earnings. Again, this is my opinion, but if someone still has their full-time secure job and their income hasn't changed at all, I don't think that person should be a priority for getting a stimulus check versus someone who is, unemployed. They lost their job. It's not their fault they had to get laid off. Businesses are closed. So I don't understand why some people have received this money and some people haven't. It makes no sense to me. They should definitely prioritize people who are unemployed, disability people who need it the most, versus someone whose income hasn't changed at all and hasn't really been affected by the current situation. If there is going to be a second stimulus bill, I do believe they should put some sort of priority on getting unemployment people the money first, people who need it, and they should have some sort of system to better deliver this money, because I know for a fact there's people getting this money that don't actually really need it. There's been people who are maybe foreign exchange students from other countries that were here for like 3 to 6 months who've gotten the check, but then again, there's still American citizens out there who have yet to receive their first stimulus check. So I don't understand why they're even discussing a second stimulus check when they haven't even fulfilled the first one. Again, this is my personal opinion, doesn't make me right. I'm not a political person whatsoever, so don't assume I'm a super political person, but that's just my thoughts. I think the money should be allocated towards people who need it the most, and people whose lives who haven't really changed. I don't think they should be getting the stimulus if they don't really need it. Would love to hear your thoughts on this topic down below. Which second stimulus do you think is most likely to get put into effect? Which one do you think would be most beneficial to American people? If you were in those seats, how would you change some of the second stimulus checks? Would you involve, free rent for a couple months, mortgage relief? How much money do you think? Should it be monthly? Should it be one payment? Would love to hear your comments down below. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I'll be keeping you up to date. I've been doing lots of research on this topic. It takes me a long time to put these videos together, so I would super appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. It would really help my video get pushed out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it gave you some valuable information, and I'll see you guys on the next one.